If you're over 60, every small decision you make, what you eat, when you move, how you sleep, even what you feel, can directly affect your heart. But what if I told you that some of your daily habits, the ones you've done for years without thinking, could be slowly damaging your heart every single day? I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to protect you. As a heart doctor, I've sat across from too many older adults who thought they were doing just fine until a routine checkup revealed dangerously high blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, or early signs of heart failure they never saw coming. And in many of those cases, it wasn't bad luck or genetics. It was a handful of quiet, everyday behaviors they never thought to question. In this video, I'm begging you to stop 9 common habits that might be quietly harming your heart. But more importantly, I'll show you what to do instead. So please, stay with me. Because your heart has carried you for decades, and now it's time for you to carry it wisely in return. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Sitting too long without light movement. I want to start with something that may seem so ordinary, so harmless that it often escapes our attention until it's too late. I'm talking about the silent damage that comes from simply sitting too long without moving. If you're over 60, this might just be one of the most dangerous habits you repeat every day without even realizing it. Let me be clear. Inactivity is not rest. It is slow erosion. As a cardiologist, I've seen the heartbreaking consequences of prolonged sitting unfold quietly and steadily in my patients. One that still haunts me is Robert, a 72-year-old retired accountant. He had no history of heart disease, never smoked, and maintained a modest diet. He came to my clinic feeling a bit sluggish and lightheaded, thinking it might just be getting older. But when we ran his tests, what we found was alarming. His legs showed signs of early venous thrombosis, blood pooling from lack of circulation, and his blood pressure spiked dangerously after simple movements. Even his EKG revealed subtle signs of cardiac strain that matched what we see in patients who sit still for 8, 10, even 12 hours a day. And yet, Robert thought he was doing fine. He told me, "Doc, I don't smoke, I don't overeat, I just enjoy reading, watching my shows, and sitting on the porch." But what he didn't realize was this. The human body, especially the aging heart, is not meant for stillness, not for hours on end, and definitely not day after day. When we sit too long, whether it's on the couch, in the car, or even during long card games or TV marathons, the lower body circulation slows down, the blood starts to pool in the legs, and the heart has to work twice as hard just to maintain regular blood flow. Over time, this leads to elevated blood pressure, weakened vessels, and in many cases, it opens the door to dangerous conditions like deep vein thrombosis, atrial fibrillation, and even congestive heart failure. And here's the scary part. It doesn't always feel like anything is wrong. That's what makes this habit so dangerous. There's no sharp pain, no dramatic shortness of breath, just a creeping fatigue, a swollen ankle, a little stiffness when you stand. But under the surface, your heart is laboring quietly, and it doesn't have to. As we age, our vascular system becomes less elastic. Blood vessels harden. The heart muscle thickens slightly to keep up. The natural rhythm that carried us effortlessly through our youth becomes more fragile. Sitting still too long, even if you're just resting, puts unnecessary stress on this already delicate system. And unlike in your 30s or 40s, Your body can't just bounce back after hours of stillness. The recovery takes longer. The consequences hit harder. Some people say, but doc, I walk in the morning. Isn't that enough? My answer is no, not anymore. One morning walk doesn't undo 10 hours of sitting. In fact, recent studies have shown that even regular exercise cannot completely offset the damage caused by prolonged sitting. It's not just about whether you move, it's about how frequently you interrupt the stillness. That's why I now tell every one of my patients over 60. Movement is medicine, but only if you take the right dose every day. It doesn't take much. Standing up every 30-45 minutes, walking around the house, stretching your arms and legs, doing a few heel raises while brushing your teeth. These small, consistent movements keep your blood flowing, your muscles engaged, and your heart from falling into a dangerous rhythm of inactivity. Let me tell you what happened to Robert after we made changes. I asked him to set a kitchen timer to go off every 40 minutes. When it rang, he would stand up, walk to the mailbox, or do a few shoulder rolls while standing by the window. He thought it was silly at first, but 3 months later, his circulation improved, his blood pressure stabilized, and most importantly, he said he felt alive again. He told me, I didn't realize how much energy I was losing just by staying still. That's what I want you to hear. Because your stillness, your long, quiet hours in that favorite chair might be costing you more than you think. So please don't wait for fatigue, leg swelling, or a hospital visit to make the change. Let your body move, let your heart breathe. Because what feels like just sitting might really be slowly squeezing the life from your most vital organ. And now, if you think that's alarming, what if I told you that the very thing you eat at night, even with the best of intentions, could be silently overworking your heart while you sleep? Let's talk about what happens when you eat dinner too late, and why it could be putting your heart at serious risk. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Eating too late and too much before bed. If there is one habit that's quietly stealing years from seniors' lives, it's this one: eating too late at night and eating too much right before sleep. It sounds harmless, even comforting. A warm meal after a long day, a little dessert in front of the TV, something small before bed so you don't wake up hungry. But for the aging heart, this habit is far from harmless. It's dangerous. I want to tell you about Marjorie, one of my longtime patients. She's 76, a retired school teacher with a heart full of kindness and a freezer full of homemade casseroles. When she first came to me, she was having trouble sleeping. Nothing dramatic, just waking up more often, feeling sluggish during the day, and experiencing some light chest pressure at night. She thought it was just part of getting older, but her blood pressure was elevated. Her resting heart rate was higher than it should have been. And when we performed a 24-hour heart monitor, something concerning came up. Her heart was working harder at night than it was during the day. When I asked her about her routine, she said something I've heard far too many times. Well, I eat dinner late, sometimes 8 or 9, and if I'm still a little hungry, I might have a bowl of soup or a cookie before bed. Marjorie didn't realize that this simple, familiar routine was triggering a cascade of stress responses in her aging cardiovascular system. You see, after 60, your body no longer processes food the way it did at 30 or 40. Your metabolism slows, your digestive system takes longer to break things down, and your heart, your faithful, overworked heart, is trying to wind down and recover by evening. But when you eat late, especially if the meal is heavy, salty, or high in carbohydrates, your heart is forced to kick back into overdrive. It has to pump more blood to your gut to help digest the food, raise your core body temperature, and manage the insulin spike, all at the very time your body is supposed to be resting. This late night exertion can cause an increase in blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, and disrupted sleep, which in turn causes more heart strain the next day. It becomes a vicious cycle. Poor sleep leads to stress hormones rising in the morning. Your blood sugar goes haywire. Your energy drops, and you end up reaching for more food or coffee to compensate. And then the cycle repeats. Worse, when you lie down after a large meal, you also increase your risk of acid reflux, which many seniors confuse with mild chest pain or heart trouble. The burning sensation, the tightness, sometimes it's digestive, but sometimes it's a warning. And as a doctor, I've seen too many seniors end up in the ER with what they thought was just indigestion, but was actually a cardiac event triggered by late night stress on the heart. In Marjorie's case, we made one simple change. We moved her dinner earlier to 5:30 p.m., made the meal lighter, a piece of fish, steamed vegetables, a small sweet potato, and eliminated late-night snacks. We also encouraged her to go for a short 10-minute walk after dinner. Within a month, she reported deeper sleep, more energy, and no more nighttime pressure in her chest. Her follow-up monitor showed that her nighttime heart rate had decreased. Her heart finally was able to rest. And that's the key here. Your heart heals at night. This is the window when inflammation decreases, blood vessels recover, and your entire cardiovascular system recalibrates. But if you eat too much, too late, you rob your heart of its chance to recover. What's tragic is that this habit is so common. In American culture, dinner has become the largest, latest meal of the day. We sit down to relax, reward ourselves, and enjoy family time. But for older adults, this timing can come at a very high cost. You're not just digesting a meal, you're taxing a tired organ that's been working hard for decades. You don't need to give up dinner, but you must shift it. Eat earlier, ideally before 6 p.m. Keep the meal light, nutrient-rich, and low in sodium and processed carbs, and give your body at least 3 hours to digest before lying down. If you need a snack later in the evening, choose something small like half a banana, a few almonds, or warm herbal tea. And most importantly, listen to your body. If you're waking up more, feeling heavy at night, or noticing your heart beating harder as you try to fall asleep, and that's not just aging, that may be your heart quietly asking for relief. Marjorie didn't think her dinner habits mattered. She thought she was doing everything right, and in many ways she was. But timing matters just as much as content. And now she's not just sleeping better, she's living better. Her energy's back, her mind is clearer, and she said something to me recently that I want to pass on to you. I didn't realize my heart needed rest too. I thought I was resting, but I was keeping it busy all night long. So if you've been following the advice that a little something before bed won't hurt, please think again. After 60, the small choices add up in ways that either preserve your heart or push it toward exhaustion. But late night eating isn't the only hidden danger in your daily routine. What if I told you that something as simple as not drinking enough water could silently thicken your blood, raise your blood pressure, and leave your heart struggling to function, even on a day when you've barely moved? Let's talk about the third habit that quietly weakens your heart one sip, or lack of a sip, at a time. 3. Not drinking enough water throughout the day. We talk so often about food, exercise, and medications when it comes to heart health, but we rarely talk about one of the most basic, life-sustaining habits of all, drinking enough water. And yet, in seniors, this one habit, or more accurately, the lack of it, is quietly, consistently damaging the heart every single day. I want to tell you about Gerald, a 79-year-old retired Navy mechanic and one of the toughest men I've ever met. Stoic, proud, independent. He came into my office with fatigue, dizzy spells, and a racing heart that would come and go. He didn't complain much. He just said, "Doc, I feel off. like I'm not firing on all cylinders anymore. He assumed it was his age. Maybe his heart was finally wearing down. But his blood tests painted a different picture. His sodium was borderline high. His kidneys were under stress. His blood pressure was fluctuating oddly between visits. When I asked him about his water intake, he laughed a little and said, "I'm not much of a water guy. I'll sip coffee all day, maybe have a glass of something with dinner." That was it. What Gerald didn't know, what many seniors don't realize, is that by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already dehydrated. And when you're over 60, the thirst response itself weakens, meaning your body stops warning you like it used to. So you can go hours or even a full day without realizing you're slowly drying out from the inside. And when that happens, your heart has to work harder, much harder. You see, your blood is over 90% water. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and stickier. That makes it more difficult for the heart to pump it efficiently, especially through arteries that may already be stiffened by age or plaque buildup. It's like asking a worn out pump to push sludge instead of water. Over time, this increases blood pressure, reduces oxygen delivery, and strains the heart muscle, leading to fatigue, palpitations, and in some cases, congestive heart failure. But it doesn't stop there. Dehydration also affects your kidneys, which play a key role in regulating blood pressure. When your kidneys detect low fluid levels, they release hormones that constrict your blood vessels and drive your blood pressure even higher. And if you're taking medications, especially diuretics, which many seniors are, dehydration can amplify their effects, creating dangerous swings in your body's chemistry. That's exactly what happened with Gerald. The combination of low water intake, mild kidney dysfunction, and a diuretic for blood pressure led to subtle yet serious cardiovascular instability. His heart was racing to compensate for low volume, his pressure was jumping unpredictably, and he felt tired all the time, even though his actual heart muscle was still strong. We made one major change: hydration. I asked him to keep a water bottle nearby at all times and to aim for at least 6 to 8 cups a day, more if he was outdoors or active. I explained that coffee, soda, and alcohol don't count. In fact, they contribute to dehydration. We built a schedule: water first thing in the morning, with each meal mid afternoon, and a few sips in the evening. Within 3 weeks, Gerald's heart rate stabilized, his kidney labs improved, and for the first time in months, he said he felt like himself again. He looked me in the eye and said, "I thought it was my heart getting old. I didn't know it was just thirsty." And I'll tell you, that's what I want you to understand too, because so many seniors suffer silently, blaming age for what is really preventable strain. You don't need to be chugging gallons, but you do need to drink water with intention, not just when you feel like it. You need to hydrate your heart every single day, because every cell in your body depends on water, but your heart feels the loss first. It beats faster, it works harder, it struggles to maintain pressure, and all the while, there may be no symptoms until something gives out. So if you're waking up with dry mouth, feeling dizzy when you stand, noticing that your urine is dark or infrequent, or just feeling more tired than usual, those are signs, not coincidences. And if you're someone who lives alone or tends to forget meals and drinks, you're even more at risk. Please don't wait until a hospital visit forces you to care. Start simple. Keep a glass on your kitchen counter. Set alarms on your phone if you need to. Add lemon or cucumber if plain water doesn't appeal to you. Sip steadily through the day, because every ounce counts, especially now. Gerald thought he was slowing down for good, but he just needed to give his heart what it was quietly begging for. And now, I have to ask you this. If something as simple as water can make such a powerful difference to your heart, Imagine what happens when your day begins with skyrocketing blood pressure before you even leave your bed. Because what you do in the first hour after waking up could either protect your heart or push it toward the next crisis. Let's talk about habit number 4, starting your day the wrong way, and why it might be putting your aging heart in immediate danger. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Exercising too late at night. Most seniors I meet have the best intentions. They want to stay active, stay strong, and stay independent. So when the day winds down and the house finally quiets, many decide that nighttime is the perfect time to finally get moving. A quick walk after dinner, a light session on the stationary bike before bed, a few stretches while watching the news. It sounds harmless, even healthy. But what if I told you this well-meaning habit could be silently sabotaging your heart's most critical time for healing? The truth is, exercising too late at night disrupts your body's natural recovery process, especially after the age of 60. As we grow older, our internal clock, known as the circadian rhythm, becomes more sensitive. Your heart, nervous system, and hormones are all carefully aligned to prepare your body for deep, restorative sleep. But when you add exercise into the mix too close to bedtime, you're sending mixed signals. Your heart doesn't know whether it should wind down or ramp up. That confusion comes at a cost. Even light activity like walking briskly around the block or doing just a few minutes of cardio stimulates your sympathetic nervous system. That's the system responsible for increasing heart rate, raising blood pressure, and keeping you alert. Normally, it's helpful, but at night, it can prevent your heart from entering the parasympathetic state, the calm, restful mode that allows it to slow down, repair, and reset. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Teresa. She's 68, a retired nurse from Arizona, proud of how disciplined she's been about her health. She came into my clinic complaining of poor sleep, strange dreams, and waking up with a racing heart. She had recently started walking on her treadmill every evening around 9 p.m., thinking it would help her sleep better. But her heart monitor told a different story. Her heart rate remained elevated well past midnight. Her body was trying to calm down, but the internal stimulation from the workout had overridden her sleep rhythm. Instead of helping her heart, she was robbing it of its most vital recovery window. You see, during deep sleep, your heart rate drops, your blood pressure lowers, your body releases growth hormone to repair blood vessels and reduce inflammation. That's the window your aging heart needs to stay strong. And when you delay or disturb that sleep, you're not just tired the next day, you're slowly draining your heart's resilience. Now, this doesn't mean seniors shouldn't exercise. Far from it. But when you exercise matters. The best time? Morning to early afternoon. Movement during this window aligns with your body's natural rhythm, supports better sleep at night, and gives your heart time to stabilize before you lay your head down. If you find yourself exercising late because that's when you have time, I urge you to rethink that schedule because no workout is worth sacrificing your heart's ability to heal. And if you're already someone who struggles with sleep or wakes up with palpitations, this might be the first change you need to make. But nighttime isn't the only hidden threat. There's another daily behavior, one so common, so automatic, that most seniors don't think twice about it. And yet, it may be increasing your blood pressure and damaging your arteries with every single bite. Next, we need to talk about a flavor that's silently aging your heart faster than time ever could. 5. Consuming too much salt, even without realizing it. If there is one silent killer I wish every senior could see with their own eyes, it's salt. Not the kind you shake on your food from the salt shaker, but the hidden kind, the kind that sneaks in through everyday meals, canned goods, frozen dinners, and sauces you've used your entire life without a second thought. I've met so many patients over the years who proudly tell me, "Doctor, I don't eat salty foods. I never touch the salt shaker." And I believe them. They think they're doing the right thing. But when we check their blood pressure, when we run the numbers, the story their heart tells is very different. Let me tell you about Helen. She's 74, lives in a small town in Missouri, and has always cooked for herself. She told me, "I haven't salted my food in over 10 years." But when she came to me complaining of swelling in her ankles, headaches, and a heavy feeling in her chest, I had a sinking feeling in my gut. Her blood pressure was 168/94, much too high for someone her age, especially with a history of atrial fibrillation. We sat down and looked through her diet. Breakfast was a frozen egg sandwich. Lunch was a can of soup. Heart healthy, according to the label. Dinner was a microwaved chicken breast with gravy and canned green beans. No chips, no fast food. But when we totaled up the sodium, over 3,000 milligrams a day, double the safe amount for a senior with heart issues. Helen wasn't neglecting her health. She was following the packaging, trusting the labels, but her heart didn't care what the box said. It was drowning in salt. Here's what happens inside your body when you eat too much sodium, especially past age 60. Your kidneys struggle to filter it efficiently. The excess salt causes your body to retain water, which increases the volume of blood circulating through your system. That means more pressure on your arteries, more force your heart has to push against. It's like turning up the pressure on a hose that's already old and fragile. Eventually, something gives. Too much sodium doesn't just raise your blood pressure, it stiffens your arteries. It damages the delicate lining of your blood vessels. It accelerates heart failure in people who already have weakened hearts. And the worst part, you often feel nothing at all until the damage is done. That's why I tell all my older patients, don't assume you're safe just because your food doesn't taste salty. Read the labels. Anything over 300 pounds, 400 millimoles of sodium per serving should raise a red flag. Watch for words like broth, sauce, seasoned, instant, or preserved. And be especially cautious with low fat or diet meals. They often compensate with extra salt for flavor. Instead, season with herbs, lemon, garlic, or heart-friendly spices. Cook fresh when you can. And give your heart what it truly needs, a chance to rest without pressure. Helen made the change. She started cooking simple whole foods. Within a month, her blood pressure dropped to 132/82. The swelling faded. She told me, "I thought I was too old to fix this. I didn't know it was the salt all along." And that's what breaks my heart. How many seniors are living with silent, preventable harm, all because no one told them where the real salt was hiding. But salt isn't the only quiet danger lurking in the daily routine. There's another habit, one most people do without even thinking, that can send your blood pressure soaring and your heart into distress before your day even begins. Next, I want to share a story about what happens when you skip the meal your heart needs most and why your mornings may be setting you up for serious cardiac risk. 6. Skipping breakfast or starting the day with the wrong foods. There's a quiet decision made in the early hours of the day, often before the sun rises. And for many seniors, that decision can make or break the heart's health for the rest of the day. It's whether you eat breakfast and what that breakfast is. Many older adults fall into one of two traps. Some skip breakfast altogether, thinking they're not hungry or you're trying to keep their blood sugar low. Others eat what's easy, toast with jam, a donut, or sugary cereal, just to have something in the stomach. Both choices, though seemingly harmless, can quietly put the heart under stress at the very start of the day. You see, after a full night of fasting, your blood sugar is already low. Your body has been repairing, your heart has slowed, and your blood pressure is supposed to rise gradually as you begin your day. But when you skip breakfast, you deny your body the gentle support it needs to stabilize. Instead, stress hormones like cortisol spike. This increase in cortisol raises your blood pressure, tightens your arteries, and forces your heart to push harder before you've even left the house. On the other hand, if you start your day with processed carbohydrates like sweetened cereals, white bread, or pastries, you trigger a sugar surge followed by a crash. Your insulin spikes, your blood pressure may drop suddenly, and your heart is left riding an unstable roller coaster of energy and pressure. Over time, this daily chaos chips away at your cardiovascular health and worsens conditions like hypertension, arrhythmia, and even early heart failure. Let me tell you about a patient I'll never forget. Frank, 70 years old, a retired truck driver from Wisconsin. He came in with frequent morning dizziness and occasional chest tightness that usually disappeared by midday. He wasn't overweight, didn't smoke, took his blood pressure meds. But when we looked at his routine, something stood out. Frank never ate breakfast. Coffee's enough, he told me. Been that way for years. We ran a 24-hour heart monitor and found that every morning between 6 and 9 a.m., his blood pressure surged unnaturally high, then crashed. His heart rate became erratic. All this before he'd eaten a single bite. We changed just one thing: a balanced breakfast, a couple of eggs, a slice of whole grain toast, and a piece of fruit. That's it. Within weeks, his blood pressure smoothed out, the dizziness stopped, and his heart rhythm calmed. Frank said, "I didn't know skipping breakfast was beating up my heart." But it was, and he's not alone. After 60, your body thrives on gentle consistency. It needs fuel early, not just calories, but stable, heart-friendly nutrition. Skipping breakfast isn't discipline. For many seniors, it's silent damage. And sugary foods first thing in the morning, they're a trap dressed up as comfort. A proper breakfast for heart health is simple: protein, fiber, healthy fat. Think oatmeal with nuts, Greek yogurt with berries, or eggs with avocado toast. These foods support stable blood pressure, improve blood vessel function, and protect your heart throughout the day. If you've been skipping breakfast or starting your day with sugar, now is the time to rethink that habit. Your heart has worked through the night. Don't punish it first thing in the morning. But if what you eat in the morning matters this much, then what you don't monitor throughout the day could be even more dangerous. Next, I'll show you the habit that far too many seniors avoid until it's too late. It's not about food or movement. It's about something hiding in plain sight: your blood pressure. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 7. 7. Not monitoring your blood pressure regularly. There's a silent storm that brews in the background of many seniors' lives. It doesn't scream. It doesn't show up overnight. And most of the time, it causes no pain, but it can quietly damage the heart, the brain, and the kidneys without you ever knowing. That storm is high blood pressure, and if you're not watching it, I promise you, it's watching you. What frightens me most as a cardiologist isn't just when I see a reading of 170/100 in my office. It's when I ask, "When was the last time you checked your blood pressure at home?" And the patient looks down and says, "I haven't in a while." By the time symptoms appear, dizziness, fatigue, blurry vision, chest pressure, it often means the damage has already begun. That's why not monitoring your blood pressure regularly is one of the most dangerous habits any senior can have. Let me tell you about Carl. He's 75, a retired welder from Michigan. Strong, proud, and independent. He came into my clinic because his daughter insisted. He had been getting tired more easily, needing more naps, and feeling lightheaded when standing. It's just age, he said, but when we checked his blood pressure, it was 182/96. Worse, he had no idea it had been rising. Carl had a blood pressure cuff at home, but he didn't use it. Didn't think it mattered much, he told me. I feel fine most days. But that's the thing. Hypertension is often symptomless. And over time, it silently hardens arteries, thickens the heart muscle, and increases the risk of stroke, heart failure, kidney disease, and even dementia. We put him on a daily monitoring routine, twice a day, morning and evening, always seated and rested. Within 2 weeks, patterns emerged. His pressure spiked after certain meals, during stressful phone calls, and in the afternoons when he forgot to take his meds. These insights allowed us to fine-tune his treatment, change his lifestyle, and most importantly, prevent something far worse. Carl now keeps a log next to his recliner. He tells me it makes him feel like he's in control again, not a victim of time, but a partner in his own care. He caught a dangerously high reading one morning and called my office. We adjusted his meds and avoided what could have become an ER visit. I want you to understand, your blood pressure is the voice of your heart trying to speak to you, gently, patiently, before it screams. And checking it is not a chore. It's an act of love, not just for yourself, but for the people who love you. You don't need fancy equipment. A simple automatic upper arm cuff from your local pharmacy will do. Measure at the same time each day after 5 minutes of sitting calmly. Keep a log. Bring it to your doctor. Let us help you see the trends before they become emergencies. If you haven't checked your blood pressure this week, please do it today. Don't wait until something feels wrong, because with blood pressure, when something finally feels wrong, it's often already too late. But monitoring what's inside your body is only half the battle. What you hold inside emotionally, especially unspoken stress, tension, or buried anger, may be even more dangerous. Next, we'll talk about how unresolved stress doesn't just affect your mood, it rewires your nervous system and can slowly poison your heart from the inside out. 8. Holding in stress, anger, or emotional tension. If there's one habit I see in my older patients that breaks my heart more than almost any other, it's this: bottling things up, keeping emotions buried, pretending everything is fine when inside it's anything but. Maybe it's a generational thing. Many seniors were raised to be strong, to push through pain, to deal with it quietly, and I deeply respect that strength. But I also know as a cardiologist that unspoken emotional stress doesn't just sit in your mind, it settles in your heart. You might not think that anger you never expressed, that grief you never processed, or that stress you've carried silently for years is doing any damage. But your body knows, your nervous system knows, and your heart, especially your aging heart, feels the weight of every emotion you refuse to let go. Let me tell you about Marcus. He's 79, a retired pastor from Georgia, a quiet, kind man. Everyone who meets him says the same thing. He never complains, never raises his voice. When his wife passed, he didn't cry at the service. She'd want me to be strong, he told me. But a year later, Marcus came to my clinic with chest tightness, not tied to exertion, and shortness of breath at night. His EKG and labs showed signs of strain. We ruled out a blockage. His arteries were relatively clean, but his heart rate was irregular, his cortisol levels were high, and his blood pressure was swinging wildly throughout the day. We talked, really talked. And for the first time in our sessions, he opened up about the loss, the loneliness, the anger he never voiced at his son who hadn't called in 6 months. He'd been holding it all in, every ache, every tear, every worry, and it was tearing his heart apart from the inside. Medically, we know that chronic emotional stress activates the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. When that system is constantly on, it keeps your heart rate elevated, raises your blood pressure, and increases inflammation throughout the cardiovascular system. Over time, this can lead to arrhythmias, artery damage, and even heart failure. Emotional wounds, if left untreated, become physical ones. And this isn't just about being more emotional. It's about acknowledging that your heart needs more than medicine. It needs relief. It needs peace. Whether that's talking to someone you trust, writing in a journal, praying, crying, or simply allowing yourself to feel, those acts are not signs of weakness. They are acts of healing. Marcus started counseling. He joined a small grief support group at his church. Within 2 months, his blood pressure normalized, his palpitations reduced, his color came back, and he smiled in my office for the first time since we met. It wasn't my heart that needed fixing, he told me. It was everything I held back from it. So if you're carrying something, anger, grief, shame, regret, I beg you, don't carry it alone. Your heart was built to beat, not to break under silence. But while emotional stress is invisible, there's one final habit that's even quieter and more dangerous. Not because it's active, but because it's passive. Let me show you how the simple act of doing nothing, day after day, can slowly steal the strength and years your heart still has left. 9. Doing nothing. Living a sedentary, motionless life. There's a quiet danger that creeps into the lives of too many seniors. It doesn't come with chest pain. It doesn't cause shortness of breath at first. And it certainly doesn't look like an emergency. In fact, it looks peaceful, calm, restful. A day spent at home. A day in your favorite chair. A day without moving much at all. But here's the truth, spoken from decades in cardiology and thousands of aging hearts. A life without movement is a slow, silent surrender of your heart's strength. Doing nothing, day after day, seems innocent. Many older adults believe they've earned their rest, and you have. But there's a difference between rest and stillness, between peace and passivity. When your body doesn't move, your heart doesn't get the signal it needs to stay strong. And over time, it weakens, not just physically, but electrically, structurally, and metabolically. Your muscles shrink, your metabolism slows, your arteries stiffen, your blood begins to pool in your legs, and your heart, once capable of adapting to changes in pressure and demand, becomes fragile, unable to rise to even small challenges without strain. I remember Henry, a 77-year-old retired train conductor from Illinois. After a fall 2 years prior, he'd lost confidence in his balance. "I just stay home now," he told me. "There's nothing much to do anyway." His days became a loop of sitting, napping, watching television, and moving only when absolutely necessary. When Henry finally came in, it wasn't because he felt pain. It was because he couldn't walk from the parking lot to my clinic without gasping for air. His blood pressure was unstable. His oxygen saturation dropped with the smallest activity. We did an echocardiogram and found early-stage diastolic heart failure. His heart was stiff, slow to fill, and struggling under the weight of years of inactivity. The irony? Henry never smoked, never drank, took his meds faithfully. But doing nothing had become his most dangerous habit. Because the human heart is a use it or lose it organ. And after 60, when natural declines in muscle mass and vascular flexibility set in, every day without movement accelerates the aging process. Your body is designed to move blood through muscle contractions. When those contractions stop, when you sit too long or choose to stay inactive, your heart loses one of its greatest allies, the movement of your limbs. And no, you don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to lift weights or run marathons, but you do need to move gently, consistently, mindfully. Walking to the mailbox, standing during commercial breaks, light stretches, chair yoga, a 5-minute stroll after meals. These aren't just little things. These are the life-sustaining habits that signal to your heart, we're still in this together. Henry began moving again, slowly at first, with a physical therapist, then on his own. In 6 months, his blood pressure stabilized, his breathing improved, and he smiled more. I thought I was just getting old, he told me, but I was getting still. That was the real danger. So I ask you, gently but urgently, if your days are spent mostly sitting, if movement feels like an inconvenience or a risk, please know that inaction is not safety. It is slow surrender. And your heart, though silent, is counting every minute you don't move as a moment of lost strength. But here's the good news. It's never too late. Your heart is remarkably forgiving, and with the right kind of movement, safe, senior-friendly, and joyful, you can bring life back into your circulation, breath back into your chest, and strength back into your days. So the question becomes, what should you do instead? What kind of movements are safe, healing, and proven to protect your heart without straining it? Stay with me, because in the next section, I'll show you exactly what kinds of gentle daily actions can restore your heart strength and add years of health to your life. 10. Not replacing harmful habits with heart-healthy alternatives. The most dangerous habit of all isn't just what you do, it's what you don't do next. It's knowing something isn't good for your heart, promising to do better, but never taking the next step, replacing the harmful habit with something healing. You see, change doesn't happen by subtraction alone. If you only try to stop bad habits, but you never introduce better ones to take their place, you leave your body and your heart in a void. And nature, especially in an aging body, does not like a void. It fills it with something, often worse than what came before. Let me be clear. After the age of 60, your body is more sensitive, not less. Your heart doesn't recover as quickly. Your nervous system is more easily thrown off balance. And your routines, whether helpful or harmful, become deeply ingrained. So when you remove a daily behavior like nighttime snacking, sedentary sitting, or suppressing stress, but don't replace it with a healing habit, your heart doesn't find relief. It finds confusion. I remember Dorothy, 82 years old, a retired school teacher from Virginia. She came to me after a mild stroke. She was sharp, kind, and deeply committed to making changes. She cut out sugar, stopped eating after 7 p.m. She even threw away her salt shaker. But a month later, she was back in my office, tired, anxious, and frustrated. Her blood pressure was still unstable. Her heart rate was erratic. I'm doing everything I was told, she said. Why do I feel worse? We reviewed her day, and I saw the problem. She'd removed every harmful habit, but she hadn't replaced them with anything nourishing. No movement, no mindfulness, no rhythm, just avoidance. She wasn't thriving. She was surviving on silence. So we began again, gently. We added a 10-minute morning stretch, a warm glass of water with lemon to start her day, a small protein-rich breakfast, a short walk at 11 a.m., deep breathing before bed, simple swaps, not overwhelming, not exhausting, but healing. Within 3 weeks, her blood pressure began to stabilize, her sleep improved, her energy returned. Dorothy didn't just remove what harmed her heart, she began to feed it. That's the lesson I want every senior to hear. Don't just quit the bad, begin the good, because your heart doesn't respond to absence, it responds to intention. If you stop moving, replace it with a movement you enjoy, like slow dancing in the living room or walking the dog. If you cut salt, bring in herbs that delight your palate. If you release anger, let joy and laughter fill the space. The most powerful transformation happens when we trade up, not just give up. Your heart is waiting for a new rhythm, not a harsh one, not a punishing one, but one that fits your season of life. A rhythm of light movement, mindful eating, restful sleep, and emotional honesty. A rhythm that honors all the years your heart has carried you and helps it carry you a little farther, a little longer, and a lot more peacefully. And here's the truth: no matter how long you've been stuck in old habits, it is never too late to begin again, wisely, gently, purposefully. Your heart may be aging, but it is still listening, still hoping, still ready. So if you've ever asked yourself, what should I do now? You're not alone. In the final message to come, I'll walk you through the exact gentle steps to rebuild your day, your rhythm, around the kind of habits that help your heart heal, not hurt. And I'll show you how even one decision made today can add life to your years and years to your life. Your heart is still listening. Give it something worth hearing. If you've made it this far, I want to say something directly to you. Not as a doctor speaking to a patient, but as one human being speaking to another who has lived, endured, and carried a lifetime of memories in the quiet, persistent beat of your heart. You're still here. Your heart is still beating. And that means there is still time, still space to heal, still strength to protect what matters most. You've just walked through 10 habits, 10 daily behaviors that may have been slowly, silently working against your heart. Not because you meant to hurt yourself, not because you were lazy or careless, but because no one told you. Because the habits that were once harmless at 30 or 40 can become dangerous by 60, 70, or 80. And unless someone speaks up with love and truth, they stay hidden until it's too late. But now you know. And knowledge at your age is not just power, it is freedom. Freedom to stop letting the calendar or the culture push you toward overexertion, undernourishment, poor sleep, or quiet suffering. Freedom to stop listening to the voice in your head that says it's too late. Because I can tell you from a lifetime of medical experience, it's not. Your heart has carried you through the deaths of loved ones, through childbirths and careers, through long nights, hard days, and quiet victories no one else ever saw. It's never asked for praise. It's never asked for applause. All it has asked is to keep beating in peace. And too often, we don't give it that. We wait, we delay, we say, next week I'll take better care of myself, while quietly brushing off the chest tightness, the dizzy spell, the swelling in our ankles, the third night of poor sleep in a row. But your heart isn't waiting for next week. It's speaking today. And the way you listen or ignore it may determine not just how long you live, but how well you live. Here's what I want you to remember: your age does not disqualify you from healing. In fact, your age makes healing more important than ever. Every walk you take, every deep breath you give yourself, every glass of water, every bite of nourishing food, every early night of rest, these aren't small things. These are life saving rituals. These are the bricks you use to rebuild trust with your own body, not in dramatic ways, but in gentle, lasting ones. I've seen 80-year-olds get off medications because they changed their habits, not perfectly, but consistently. I've seen widows learn how to laugh again. I've seen men who thought they'd never walk without a cane regain their balance, not because of miracles, but because they chose to move a little more and sit a little less. You don't need a perfect routine. You need a forgiving one that works with your aging heart, not against it, one that honors the wisdom you've earned and the limits you now face. So here's your invitation, not just from me, but from your own heartbeat. Begin again, slowly, kindly, today. Change one habit, replace one routine, make one decision that whispers back to your heart, I hear you. I won't ignore you anymore. If no one's told you this recently, let me be the one to say it. You're not too old. You're not too broken. You haven't missed your chance. And your next chapter can still be one of strength, peace, and purpose. Let today be the day you stopped harming your heart with silence, with stillness, with stress. Let it be the day you began a new rhythm, one built not on fear, but on care. Because your heart is still listening. Now give it something worth hearing. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.